Hello, everybody, and welcome to Slingy's Daredevils, where we spotlight leaders who are elevating our community through tech. In today's episode, I am speaking with Nicholas from Goodmaps. Nicholas, how's your week going so far?
It's been a pretty busy week. I mean, we've had a lot of things going on, and Goodmaps is taking up a lot of my time as usual, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's great.
Well, hey, that's good, especially because Goodmaps is what we're going to be talking about today. So, for those at home that maybe don't know, what is Goodmaps and what do y'all do?
Well, Goodmaps' mission is to make spaces more accessible, specifically indoor spaces, more accessible, welcoming, and safe. And we're achieving that mission by creating, updating, and sharing accurate maps and delighting users with a trusted navigation experience. We really like to get people to where they're going. We focus a lot on the accessibility components of the community that needs help and assistance getting through indoor spaces. We're also good enough to use that anybody can use it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love the word delight there. I think that's a key part of it. Is it's not just we're doing this in an exciting and a fun good way.
Yeah, I like to keep the principles of good app design at the forefront of everything we do. And
Oh yeah.
even though I'm the chief technology officer at Goodmaps, I do have oversight over the product team as well, which is kind of an unusual thing, but it helps us keep better control of how the technology impacts the community that we're trying to serve
Oh
and
yeah.
how we actually design for that from an engineering perspective. So.
Okay. So speaking of kind of your experience with Goodmaps, what led you to work at Goodmaps? And why are you so passionate about providing a universally accessible indoor navigation experience?
Yeah, good questions. Good questions. I think for one, I believed in the technology and the evolution of computer vision models to replace GPS for indoor navigation. I mean, GPS is just inherently very inaccurate inside. If
hmm
anybody's ever tried to use other mapping apps for those indoor positions, they're just bouncing all over the place. So Good Maps
Usually
was,
just a photo.
yeah. So Good Maps was at the forefront of that technology research, and I knew I could have an impact if they brought me on. It seemed like it was a really good time for me to take the knowledge I gained from a long consulting career
Yeah.
and use that to benefit an early stage company, and especially in its transition period to support scale, which Good Maps is at the cusp of some pretty big scaling right now.
Oh, well, that's exciting. And I hope we hear a little bit more of that in the next question of how does Goodmap use tech to provide a universally accessible indoor navigation experience?
So for one, our technology is built mainly to guide people, or it was built originally mainly to guide people with accessibility needs through indoor spaces.
hmm
But we found it's so accurate and easy to use that nearly anyone with a need to navigate an indoor space can use it. I mean, when I
Right.
first pulled up the app and I started walking around, I was like, wow, this is great. Like if you have to go to a hospital office setting, you've never been there before, it doesn't matter if you have an accessibility need and you have to take a wheelchair oriented path, or you've broken a leg and you want to avoid stairs, or you're visually impaired and you can't see. Our app can guide you to where you have to go. So I
Wow.
thought, wow, that is great. So focused on a solution using computer vision and machine learning, so accurate that it's able to tell you where you are in the building without needing a GPS or other hardware you have to install, like the Bluetooth beacons that have been notorious for, needing large volume battery replacement cycles or falling off
Right.
ceilings and hitting people in the head. I mean, one of our engineers almost had his MacBook smashed by a beacon that fell off the wall
Oh
from
my
one of our
gosh.
yeah, when we were doing comparison testing of our app versus beacons, and it's like those things they weigh several ounces. I mean, they could do some damage.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would not want one to fall on me.
No, no, beacons they were a stopgap to a better solution, and we have a better solution.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit more on the intricacies of Good Maps, maybe the tech itself, just more high level kind of what the average community member might see when they go to Good Maps.
So many different facets to our technology, right? So one is at a high level, we use LiDAR, which for those people that aren't really familiar, it's just a bunch of little laser points that get shot out around a space, and there's a
Oh wow.
time of flight measurement that goes on to calculate how long the laser beam has traveled and then reflected back to the sensor. And from that, you can actually detect objects. So we use that initial LiDAR scan to basically map a space. And from that map, we go back and we take that data and we use some visual data along with that. And we train some really advanced computer vision machine learning models on what that space looks like. And then
Wow.
we have an app called Goodmaps Explore. And what Goodmaps Explore does is it lets you walk around an interior space that we've scanned, and
Hmm.
you use your imagery on the mobile device to find where you're at within the space. And once you've used the app, you've uncovered where you're at, it can route you to where you want to go based on what you've searched for. So let's say I want to find the nearest restroom. I pull
Hmm.
up the phone. I look around with the phone, and it tells me it's found my position, and the nearest bathroom that I wanted to go to is in maybe 50 meters, and it's going to say, turn left and start walking, and it's going to tell me how to get there step by
Wow.
step. Walk 15 feet ahead, turn right, right turn approaching. Turn right here, walk straight ahead, 50 meters. Your bathroom's on the right. Things like that. So step by step, turn by turn, indoor navigation that's extremely accurate and precise.
So yeah, it definitely needs to be accurate and precise because just like driving a car, you don't want to miss a turn. So it's good to see that Good Maps is putting a lot of tech and thought behind making sure that it's easy for everybody to use.
Yeah,
Um,
and especially when we think about it from the visually impaired community, we don't want those folks walking right into walls or turning at the wrong points.
right.
And a lot of them have expressed delight in using our app to say it's very accurate. Somebody proclaimed that it got them right to the very button they needed to press on a vending machine, which
Oh wow.
those are really amazing stories for us to hear. So it's
Oh
been great.
yeah. Especially at the vending machine, because if I want chips and I end up getting like mints or something, I'm gonna be a little upset.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of stuff you have to do on the end of that, but it's definitely great to be able to get somebody to that point.
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys are doing a lot of good work out there. So Nicholas, we have the final question, which is how can people get involved? Where can people find you? And what have you got going on?
Yeah, so check our website. It's www.goodmaps.com and contact us. I mean, we're always adding new venues. We will evaluate, talk with anybody about, what the value they could get out of adding their venue to our services, what it would do for them, how they can, benefit the accessibility community and how they provide indoor navigation. So since we're always adding new venues, our app is always evolving to include new features that our community has requested. There's a lot of different nuances to designing an indoor navigation ecosystem. So some, want an experience that's universally accommodating. Some would say they want universally accessible. We are
Mhm.
driving towards an app that everybody can use and everybody finds it to be a trusted navigation experience.
Awesome. Definitely building a community for the community.
Yeah,
Just a little
yeah.
cheesy, but I think that's a good way to put it.
No, it is good, and we have it built into our corporate bylaws that we will always be focused on the accessibility component of our indoor navigation. So no matter what we do, we will always have that as a key tenet of how we approach that. Because what we have found is by designing it in a way that is accessible, it basically includes everybody. Because it has been a wonderful experience to use an app that's good enough to guide anybody through an indoor space to where they have to go. And if you
Yeah.
have specific needs, you can basically target what those needs are through our app and say, this is how I want to navigate that space. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah. Awesome to hear. So Nicholas, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to myself and Slingy.
All
And
right.
thank you at home for watching this episode of Slingy's Daredevils. I think a good thing down below to comment would be what is a business venue that you think should get connected with Good Maps and get some internal mapping added into the Good Maps app. Um, so, Nick, thanks again and have a great one, everybody. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.